My name is Miles Spencer Steele III, and that's spelled Miles, first name M-I-L-E-S, and Spencer is S-P-E-N-C-E-R, and Steele is S-T-E-E-L-E the third.
For a little background, could you tell me briefly about yourself? How long have you lived in the Hillcrest community? How long have you been involved in the Hillcrest community? And any involvement in the Hillcrest Community Civic Association?
I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. I got here to the Hillcrest community by way of California and Singapore. I was involved in foreign service for the Department of Commerce. And we were there in Singapore for approximately 3 years, from 91 to about 94. Came here in 94 and always did like DC, the area. Had been here on other occasions and decided we would come here. And that was in the fall of 1994. Shortly after that, I got involved with the Hillcrest Community Civic Association. I guess this was around 95 or 6, or if I'm not mistaken, it had to be 95. And I was invited to the Holy Comforter Church by Pastor Singer. And this was right after the wife had passed away. She passed away in June of 95. And I think that was right after that. It was 95. And he invited me to church for Thanksgiving. And I remember going there and then for service, and then he invited me over to his home for dinner. And that's where I met more people from the Hillcrest area. And from that time on, I took an interest in the Hillcrest Civic Association and the things they were doing. And I think shortly after that, I became their second vice president, which was very good. I appreciated it, learned a lot, and got more familiar with the community and its people.
As you may know, this oral history project is a continuation of the 20th anniversary celebration of the Hillcrest Community Civic Association. In thinking about the neighborhood and your involvement, how will you define Hillcrest as a strong DC neighborhood? Tell me why, and also explain what is your definition of a strong DC neighborhood.
I think Hillcrest is a very strong neighborhood, basically because of the people and their interest and their way of going about handling and doing their business on every level. They're very civic-minded, very community-oriented, and they get along with everyone. And this is on every level, as I mentioned, local, federal, and so forth. And they're a very tight organization, very tight community. And I think that's one of the big reasons why it's a strong community, because they cooperate and they communicate with each other on all levels. So based upon that, I feel they are a strong community.
And what is your opinion of the Hillcrest Community Civic Association, having served as a board member, and its role in creating this strong DC neighborhood? how do you think it has engaged the residents of the community to encourage active involvement and participation? And to what extent do you think the HCCA has sufficiently engaged the residents in other parts of the city? I want you to think about our internal and external interactions and think long term from the past 20 years or so.
Well, the way they have engaged the residents here is by having the Civic Association itself and being able to address different items or studies or things of concern to each other, such as the maintenance of the streets and the environment, and they would solicit speakers to come in and let us know the different things in the neighborhood that would be advantageous to us, and by virtue of that we grew stronger and became a more viable organization and community. As far as reaching out, we have a collaborative with the Palisades. I was a member of the Federation of Citizens Association, which I represented Hillcrest. And at that time, I ran into a young lady by the name of Alice Stewart, who was a principal at Palisades. Now, Palisades is the northernmost end of the city, as Hillcrest is the southernmost. But for some reason, we came together, her and myself. We are co-founders of Neighbors Through Art. And we started to doing things with music and with our schools in the respective areas. We had musicals, we had cook-offs, we had culinary, the arts, everything that pertained to the arts we did. So this is another way that they have of reaching out. And that kind of goes along, I don't know, maybe I'm jumping around here, but that kind of goes along with the mayor-elect, because he wants one city. And he's been very instrumental in this effort that we have put forth. Palisades has a parade every year, July the 4th, and we participate in that. And here, I chair the Friends of Francis Gregory Library, and we have events, we have jazz, we have flea markets, and we have chili cook-offs, which is one of our main signature events. And they participate in that. So this is how Hillcrest has reached out, because it was by the invitation of Hillcrest for me to go to that meeting with the Federation of Citizens Association. And that's how I ran into Ms. Stewart, and the organization came out of that. And what we're trying to do, and I know the mayor-elect is interested in doing, making it one city, and people reaching out from different neighborhoods and seeing what's going on. We had no idea. A lot of people here didn't even know where Palisades was, and vice versa. They said, Hillcrest, where is that? You know, and then when they heard Southeast, they were a little reluctant. But we're governed by, it appears, so many different geographical barriers, and we shouldn't be. Over there, they say west of the park. Over here, we say east of the river. Doesn't make sense. We're one city. And this is how Hillcrest has become as strong as they have, because they reach out to other people and other communities.
So you would say that Hillcrest and HCCA has been effective in reaching out, and that HCCA has worked well with the community, and by extension the rest of Ward 7, so to garner goodwill, promote neighborliness, and maintain a wholesome community. And how effective has the various forms of communication and outreach proponents been effective? Or is there room for improvement?
Well, there's always room for improvement. We can always do better. We have an ANC, we have a PSA, and we have other communities around Ward 7. And what has happened, our council person, Yvette Alexander, had mentioned at the last State of the Ward address that she would like for each of the presidents of each of the civic associations to visit another association and take some ideas to them and from them. And what does this do? This brings the ward together tighter because she wants one city also, and making Ward 7 one. Now, I think that's what she ran on. But all of these components are like into the melting pot or into the stew, and what comes out of it is a beautiful gumbo. Because you mentioned gumbo. Okay.
So to what degree do you see HCCA and the Hillcrest neighborhood as extensions of each other? And in other words, how effective would have one been without the other in creating this strong DC neighborhood? And do you view them, Hillcrest and the HCCA, as separate entities, or are they one and the same to you? When one does well, does it naturally bring along the next? Or does success occur individually? And why do you see it either way?
I think they're one and the same. I can't see them as being different or separate entities. Hillcrest Community Civic Association is exactly what it says. It's an association of the Hillcrest community. And I think that's kind of self-explanatory. I think they're one and the same. I don't see where they would be different or separate entities.
The neighborhood has been known for its civic-mindedness, neighborliness, caring, and respect for the beauty of the environment. Is this something that you agree with? And if so, why? And are there any other adjectives you'll use to describe Hillcrest and the HCCA?
Could you repeat?
Sure. The neighborhood has been known for its civic-mindedness, neighborliness, caring, and respect for the beauty of the environment. Is this something that you agree with? Just thinking about the website and what people say about Hillcrest. If so, why? And are there any other adjectives you use to describe Hillcrest and the HCCA?
I would just say yes, it is a wonderful place. And I think as in some ways you could just say location. It's about where it is. If you're coming up Southern Avenue in the summer, after you come from the bridge or across the bridge, and you're on your way up Pennsylvania Avenue, and you pass Minnesota coming on up to Branch, it's like 10 or 12 degrees cooler than it was down the hill. So the location is great. It's Hillcrest, and we're at the crest of the hill. So that's what really makes it beautiful, and a wonderful place to live. And again, I want to mention about the organizations that we have, the ANCs, the PSAs, and the civic associations out here in Ward 7. And then Hillcrest is sort of like the pioneer, the leader. And not to say that we're any better than anyone else. I would like to put that out there because we are human just like all of the rest. And I think we all need to kind of reach out for each other and continue to support each other. Did that?
Yeah. Do you have any specific examples that will underscore the civic mindedness and neighborliness of Hillcrest residents? Is there any incident or anything that you remember? And it could be as descriptive as you can.
Well, we have the Christmas party we used to have every year at the Holy Comforter, which was always a well attended event. Everyone participated, everyone looked forward to it. That was one. And then at Pastor Singer's church, the Holy Comforter, there were musicals that we had where people would come in and put on some music or piano concertos and things of that nature. We have the night out, which is good. We had that. That's something we look forward to every year. And at this point, I would like to say something about the Friends of the Library. As I mentioned previously, that I chair those Friends. And we have signature events. We start around March with a chili cook-off. And these are all supported by Hillcrest, which we're in Hillcrest, the Francis Gregory Library. The chili cook-off, we have a flea market, we have jazz in June, and everyone's asking that we do it more than just once a year, which we're looking forward to doing that. Then we have another flea market around October we call the Oktoberfest. And in December, we have an event where we give back to the community. This is a free event, so to speak. All the other events that we have are fundraisers for the library. And we, the Friends, are a 501c3 organization. So whatever donations and things that people make are tax deductible. So,
So is that specifically what the Friends does? It's a fundraising arm for the Francis Gregory Library.
Right.
Okay. Which is going through renovations right now.
Well, we're going to have a brand new library. And thanks to our council chair now, Mr. Gray, and our Ward 7 council person, and Mr. Kwame Brown, the at-large person, we're going to have a brand new library. In fact, in the fall, if I'm not mistaken, in the fall of 2011, it should be completed.
And since the first time you moved into this community back in the 1990s, do you see a continuation of the civic mindedness you had first seen when you came here? Has it changed over time? Is it better? Is it worse? Do you have any opinion on the HCCA in helping with this continuation?
You know, upon my coming here and serving on the board for HCCA, I've always been an advocate of succession planning. So by virtue of that, and you're making room for the younger people to step up and to do things with the organization. So from that standpoint, I see it getting better. I served for those 2 years, and then I kind of stepped back and let someone else, younger, step up. And I think from that standpoint, it is getting better. And we're becoming stronger because we're getting more ideas from younger people. And they're more vibrant in doing the things that they do. There are people in the neighborhood now, whereas 10 years ago, we didn't know anything about websites. You know, if we did, we didn't know how to do it or what to do with it. So now you have these people that Twitter and tweet and whatever else they do. And it's great because that's the future of Hillcrest. It's getting stronger. And we're going to continue to employ the younger people to step up because it's on their shoulders for which all of this improvement is going on for, you know, like Skyland and other buildings around here. It's not really for us. It's going to be for the grandchildren and their children. So that's why I say it's getting stronger. And I'm a great advocate of succession planning.
And based on the length of time that you've lived in Hillcrest and based on your observations and interactions, what do you see as the 3 core elements that make for a strong DC neighborhood in the District of Columbia? And I have examples, may include respect for each other, just keeping your yards clean, being able to say hi to one another. But what do you see as these 3 core elements of a strong neighborhood?
Like you mentioned, respect for each other. That's one, and as well as each other's property. Interest in their personal well-being, as well as for any issues, concerns which affects directly and which may ultimately affect other residents. And what I'm saying there is just respect for each other and their property, and keeping a watchful eye. We're like a family here in Hillcrest. I don't think there are too many people that don't know each other, you know, but, and I think that's great. And it's good to ride by and wave at people. And people stop and say, hi, Miles, how you doing? And so forth, and this and that. It's a very tight community. And I personally, I enjoy that. It's just good. And to me, I want to go back to location, because after being in town, this is like coming to the suburbs. You know, I mean, you're coming out of town, uptown, wherever, downtown, but you're coming out here, and it's like away from everything. I just think it's very strategically located. We're not far from the White House or Capitol Hill, and we have Maryland right across the street, Virginia's down the road. It's a great place.
Is there anything else you can think that highlights Hillcrest as a strong DC neighborhood, and anything that shows HCC as helping to facilitate that strength?
I was thinking of that question, but I don't know. I think I've just about said what all I can. I just think it's a great neighborhood with a lot of potential. It's one of the older neighborhoods in the city. And I think the people are just wonderful.